It's time for Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero. When it comes to news on 95.1 FM, weather always comes first. Storm chances will shift northeastward into the Great Lakes following an upper wave accompanying surface frontal system. An amplifying long wave trough over the west will help to enhance lee cyclogenesis over the high plains, bringing another chance of storms to the Central Plains and Missouri Valley by this evening. Intense heat will continue over portions of South Florida and from southern Texas into the southern high plains over the next few days, with heat indices into the 105 to 110 degree range. Conditions will remain well above average more broadly across the central and eastern U.S., highs in the 80s in the interior northeast, cooler temperatures spread southward into the Great Basin, with highs in the 80s and 90s forecast south of the front over the southwest. Closer to home, persistent and deep southwest flow over the desert southwest will bring above normal temperatures, very dry to exceptionally dry air, and breezy conditions. Winds will remain strongest today into tomorrow. Now this is going to combine with very dry fuels to create critical fire conditions over much of the southwest and south central New Mexico. This includes the Lincoln and Gila National Forest. West to southwest winds will be blowing 15 to 25 miles per hour, gusting up to 40. Humidity ranges will be between 5 and 8%. The National Weather Service has issued a red flag warning in effect for the area from noon until 9 p.m. due to exceptionally dry air, abnormal warmth, dry fuels, and breezy winds. A red flag warning means that critical fire weather conditions are either occurring now or will shortly. A combination of strong winds, low relative humidity, and warm temperatures can contribute to extreme fire behavior. We'll have another look at the weather following this news. This past Friday, 2 lightning-caused fires were detected in the White Mountain Wilderness in the Smoky Bear Ranger District in the Lincoln National Forest. Blue Fire and Blue Fire 2 are being closely monitored by the Smoky Bear Ranger District. Currently, Blue Fire 2 is approximately 5 acres and growing. Currently, the overall strategy on the blue fires is to allow the low to moderate intensity of spread to play its natural role on the landscape. Recent precipitation, as well as the slow spread of the fires and rocky terrain, have all led to this determination. Crews will take appropriate actions to help keep the fire within the designated planned boundaries while protecting private land, infrastructure, and natural resources. The fire is being monitored by air and ground resources to help predict expected fire behavior and rates of spread. The air show is coming up, and if you've ever watched the stunts these pilots perform and wondered just how they do that without getting sick or passing out, or maybe you have other questions, you now have an opportunity to ask.
We will have a special meet and greet with the Thunderbirds the day before the air show at Holloman Air Force Base. That's Saturday, June 1st, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. at Washington Park. And we'll have the band Hear No Evil. That is a local band from Alamogordo. Entry is free to that meet and greet.
Luke Haynes speaking with Crazy Radio. See the City of Alamogordo Facebook page for details. Well, today is Monday. That means it's time for a pup date from Animal Village NM.
Hi, Sunny Harris with Animal Village NM, with simple instructions on how you can win an affordable Japanese shaman, doggy treadmill, a glazed shapeshifter, antique car horn, local restaurant certificates, yoga classes, pottery, psychic readings, handcrafted toddler sweaters, and even have people praying for you every week. Just go to our website and register for our online Spring Fling auction. Our animal welfare auction features all these treasures and more, new and antique, one of a kind, and delicious, and gifts that will make your family and friends think you spent a fortune at Christmas, with bidding live now on our online auction. Yes, auctions are fun and interesting, but this is an urgently needed auction to support spay and neuter, feed and transport, and help local animals in need. 3 of the stars of our show are dogs who don't need to be neutered. I bet you'd never hear me say that, but they are a rare pair of jade foo dogs, aka foo lions, with a cub, which represents the cycle of life. Foo dogs are symbolic protective statues, and they are designed in pairs, one female, one male. The female represents yin, and the male represents yang. And we'll even show you how to place these jade foo dogs to keep bad spirits from entering your home. You'll learn obscure facts on our auction, but most importantly, so many local merchants and individuals are giving you this opportunity to do your Christmas shopping for friends and family and yourselves early, and to help animals in need in your community. Thank them for helping when you visit their businesses or see them at the market or in church. Bid on certificates to Les Combs Winery and Bistro, a lovely big basket from McGinn's Pistachio Land, Carino's Italian Food in Otero County, where we subsidized more than 200 spay-neuter surgeries last year, Ruidoso, the Rancher's Steakhouse, Garcia's Mexican Food, Earth and Stone Pottery, Gazebo Potters, Blue Lotus Yoga, Slinky Joe's Smoke Shop, Crafty Cup Coffee Shop, and Truman's Furniture. Just a tiny, tiny number of our auction items. Since 2007, only through donations, our PAW program has provided more than 10,000 spay-neuter surgeries for low-income pet guardians who had no other way to spay and neuter their pets and prevent litters from running your streets. We provided more than 200 surgeries, but we have the highest rate of pet abandonment in America. We need to do more. This auction link is on our website at Animal Village NM and on our Facebook and Insta pages. Now, get the items you want anyway and help local animals in need. AnimalVillageNM.org. The Spring Fling Auction. AnimalVillageNM.org.
News from around the state in just a moment. This is Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero.
Local news from local perspectives, from local voices. AlamogordoTownNews.org. Local sports, local events, and local happenings and more. Nonprofit owned and operated by Second Life Media. We are Otero County. AlamogordoTownNews.org. Heard daily on Crazy KALH Radio 95.1.
Directory Plus is the right size book. It's the book if you need a phone book.
That's what just one person has to say about Directory Plus. With its red cover, features, colorful yellow pages, and lots more, it's no wonder people all over use Directory Plus.
It has so much more information. You can cross-check phone numbers or addresses or pretty much anything.
Look on the plus side, Directory Plus.
I'm a big fan of Directory Plus.
55-year-old Ronald Jackson of Tucson was convicted by a jury for a felony child sex crime in Donna Ana County. Jackson was a resident of Donna Ana County back in 2013 when he committed the act of criminal sexual penetration of a child under the age of 13, which is a first-degree felony. Court records indicate that the victim was, she was only 10. The jury came to their decision this past Friday. The New Mexico State Police have arrested 26-year-old Miguel Garza of Clovis after they say he agreed to meet with an officer posing as a 14-year-old girl. State Police and the Air Force Office began a child solicitation investigation last week after Garza agreed to meet up with the undercover officer. When Garza showed up at the local hotel to meet his child date, he was arrested, and he now faces charges of child solicitation. In 1979, the movie Life of Brian had a line in it that turned out to be somewhat prophetic.
Why are you always on about women, Stan? I want to be one. What? I want to be a woman. From now on, I want you all to call me Loretta.
Move forward some 10 to 15 years, and the sitcom Coach made this statement.
Well, I believe that we all have male and female sides. In fact, I think that women are only 51% female and 49% male. Conversely, I think that men are 51% male and 49% female.
Well, Stu, I don't know what book you got that out of, but I think I'm in the high 90s.
Back then, we found these lines to be comical.
Of course, that was back in the days when music was music and men were men and fish were fish. Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Things today are simply not as we once knew them.
I am genderqueer, trans, masc, and queer.
My sexuality is unlabeled.
I like frogs, not people.
The hell? Play that again.
I like frogs, not people.
Okay, fine.
Do you think a 12-year-old should be able to get a tattoo?
I'm going to say no.
Probably not.
No. They can't make the decision for themselves yet. Something permanent on their body.
Whew. At least the young generation has an understanding of maturity and long-term effects.
Do you think a 12-year-old should be able to consent to puberty blockers?
Yes.
I take it back.
Kids know, almost immediately.
Of course, this is most often the result of social media influence. I believe this is because I heard it on TikTok. Oftentimes, these young people believe in things that are Absolutely not true.
So in Florida, which is where a lot of my family live in, I've heard that some people could actually be put to death over there.
But in fear of not being part of the in crowd, it is my opinion that many of these young people are simply jumping on the bandwagon, and New Mexico is not helping matters. Since New Mexico Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham signed into law House Bill 7 last year, advocates say New Mexico has become a refuge for those seeking gender-affirming care who come from states where such care is restricted or prohibited. But while many people associate gender-affirming care with surgery, Equality New Mexico Executive Director Marshall Martinez says it encompasses a wide spectrum of care.
Gender-affirming care can be something as simple as having conversations with a counselor or therapist about discovering one's identity or about how to live in this particular world and society. As a transgender or non-binary person, gender-affirming care can often include medical care, and so that can look like prescriptions, puberty blockers, hormone replacement therapy, etc. And in some cases, gender-affirming care can include surgical care as well, what we now refer to as a surgical gender-affirming care, but was previously known as sex reassignment surgery.
Okay, let me be clear. If you're an adult, we're talking about your body and your life. You have the right to live as you choose to live. You don't have the right to never be offended, but you do have the right to do with your own body as you see fit, provided it doesn't affect others. But what many are advocating these days involves children. If a 12-year-old child said to you he doesn't feel right having 2 legs, would you as a parent or guardian permit the removal of a limb? If you said no, give yourself a point. If you said yes, stay the hell away from children. Sadly and shockingly, removing limbs is also a growing trend. Look it up. Body mutilation of a child is disgusting. It's got to be stopped. In other parts of the world, over 200 million young girls have had their genitals mutilated in a procedure called a clitorectomy. It prevents her from ever enjoying sex. Oftentimes, this is done in a non-sterile environment and without any sort of anesthesia. Should this be allowed? If you said no, give yourself a point. If you said yes, stay the hell away from children. Look, I don't know the first thing about being gay or trans. You, the listener, probably don't either. We don't know the mental anguish, the confusion, the depression, etc. We simply don't know. We don't have the common point of reference. And like I said, if you're an adult, you do you. But we've got to do something to protect these children from getting hurt and mutilated. Having a doctor or anyone willing to mutilate or chemically alter a child is careless, dangerous, and immoral. Not immoral, immoral. Look it up. The state of New Mexico is saying, come here and we will permit procedures and medications where other states will not, is equally immoral. Some organizations, such as the ACLU, stress that while New Mexico state laws and policies help protect access to gender-affirming care, those interested in traveling to New Mexico for that care should probably contact organizations in their home state to ask them logistical questions on how to stay safe. Equality New Mexico states they don't collect data of how many people are coming from other states or which states they're coming from to New Mexico for care. They're avoiding that out of what they're calling an abundance of caution, just in case someone tries to compel them to hand over the information. Let me say again, if we're talking about an adult, it's their decision. If we're talking about children, then you're damn right you should hand over that information.
Those of us who work in LGBTQ communities and sort of adjacent in reproductive health care access, what we know anecdotally is that last year in the spring, about 3 weeks after New Mexico had passed our protections for gender-affirming care, is when Texas passed their prohibition on gender-affirming care for young folks. And so we've started to see a lot more families traveling from Texas to New Mexico to access that care.
At some point, I fear, we will all look at each other, and when we're asked about the 20s, we're going to ask ourselves, what have we done? God, I hope I'm wrong. The National Weather Service has issued a red flag warning in effect for the area from noon until 5 p.m. due to exceptionally dry air, abnormal warmth, dry fuels, and breezy winds. A red flag warning means that critical fire weather conditions are either occurring now or they will shortly. A combination of strong winds, low relative humidity, and warm temperatures can contribute to extreme fire behavior. Your Crazy Radio spot-on weather forecast for the Tularosa Basin today calls for mostly sunny skies, winds gusting as high as 24 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight with winds gusting as high as 24. Sunny and not as hot tomorrow, winds gusting as high as 28. Your high today in the Basin, 93, low tonight 61, high tomorrow 87 degrees. In Cloudcroft, sunny skies today, winds gusting as high as 32 miles per hour. Partly cloudy tonight, winds gusting as high as 32. Sunny and cooler tomorrow, winds gusting as high as 31. Your high today in Cloudcroft, 70. Low tonight of 46. High tomorrow, 64 degrees. Local breaking news can be found on our website, alamogordotownnews.org, and learn more about Crazy Radio by visiting kalhradio.org. Also, check out the Crazy KALH Radio YouTube channel. That's where we post our daily newscasts, complete interviews, and other information which concerns everyone in the Tularosa Basin. Be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel if you've not done so already. That way you too can remain informed of the goings-on in the Tularosa Basin. That concludes today's edition of Alamogordo Town News on Crazy Radio. I'm Anthony Lucero.